Yeah, so Brian bent Tim over a barrel and showed on the 50 states. Alright, so to keep the theme of speaking on high scores first, we'll start it off this week with aces. 226 points. This is phenomenal. This is a very weird week for fantasy football. He was the only person to score over 160. It was crazy. This is one of the lowest weeks. This probably was the lowest scoring week overall for fantasy football this week, but not for him, not for Brian. He had 132 defensive points. 132. If you count the kicker, I think it goes up to 143. But 132 from this defense is enough to outscore 4 teams this week. Insane. If only he could do this when, the people that are supposed to ball are balling out. But nonetheless, he had a great week. Let's take a look at some of his best players. Melvin Ingram, what did he have? 18 points. Josh Norman, 2 picks, 1 to the house. Corey Graham, 19. Didn't even see that one. Daryl Smith started them off on Thursday, 21. Whew. James Jones with a little mediocre 9.8. Oh, Drew Brees, 31. This is just it was a blowout. I mean, that's really the only way to put it. Let me get this right. The only way to put it. I'm still trying to figure out a way to get Muhammad Wilkerson from him, but I don't think that's going to happen after he's steady putting up these double-digit points. James Ahedebo, 17. If only he could have done a little bit more for us Lions, but that's another story. Good win for you, Aces. Going on to Tim. I don't know what to say about this. It's a bad week again. Nothing you could really do about that. Off week. Hopkins gave him 18. Hilton gave him 6. Forsett gave him 17. Didn't see that. Peterson, 17. Tyrod Taylor, 17. This is one of those weeks. Big win, big week for you. Congratulations, Aces, again. All right, so this wasn't the projected matchup of the week, but it was the closest. Whoo, Eric. You had me worried, man. You had me worried. I was watching the Miami game, 9 a.m. Chris Ivory was looking really good. I know he burned you last week, man, but you got to get him back out there. You got to get him out there. Odds are he's not going to have a 0 again. But at least you got a couple good running backs you can throw out there and put up 20 points on any given week. But on the flip side, Jim, I know you're kicking yourself thinking maybe you should have started Bortles. Antonio told you this would be a weekly conundrum, and here you go, sticking with Stafford and losing. Yeah, everything would be better if Calvin Johnson holds on to the rock and we score the touchdown, Lions win, everybody's happy. But no, you should have started Bortles. Look at this. Look at your bench. It's not much better. Duke Johnson, 17.6. Doug Martin, 22 points. What are you guys doing in this matchup? This was insane. So many points just left down here. Danny Woodhead, 13.8. Von Miller with 12. Wow. How'd that Travis Kelce trade working out for you? He's got a nice 1.9 this week, so that had to feel pretty good, huh, Jim? Well, anyway, the standout player in this matchup was Calais Campbell. His 19 points was the high in the game. But again, we know this was just a sad week for fantasy all around. But, excuse me, I don't know. This was a low-scoring matchup. Not much really to talk about. So we'll just keep it going. Eclipse goes to 2-2. Headhunters moves to 1-3 in the shit division. So he'll be all right. All he has to do is win next week. Somebody else will lose and keep it all close. So we'll keep it going. While we're talking about players or teams the Lions fucked, might as well throw a Party All the Time in there too. So if you guys remember correctly, I chose Party All the Time and Maine Lobsters as my matchup of the week. And in all honesty, it was not as close as it should have been. But again, the Calvin Johnson fumble Oh, how different the game would have gone. Let's just look at it for a minute. So, Eclipse. Lobsters won by, what is this? 12 points, basically. Lobsters won by 12 points. If Calvin Johnson gets a touchdown, he wouldn't have fumbled, which will take his party all the time score from 137 to 140 plus the 6. So you're down 3 points, and your defense is back out there. Glover Queen, Stephen Tillich. Seattle would have had to move the ball. Who's to say that they don't get 2-3 tackles? I mean, that could have gone either way. But, again, the ups and downs of fantasy football. Let's take a look at the losing side here for a minute here, okay? Peyton Manning. Now, at what point, if you're Cedric, do you start considering playing a little brother? Peyton Manning is currently ranked 18th among quarterbacks. For the year, he's thrown 6 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. These are his stats for the year. While Eli has thrown 7 touchdowns and only 1 interception. Seems, like you would just play Eli. I don't really know what the holdup is. Julio Jones with a 3.8. That's gotta suck considering it was a blowout. The Atlanta game, nobody could get going except for Freeman. Martellus Bennett, he got that right, but his best player was DeQuell Jackson. Nobody else is really worth talking about. My sneaky playoff team and Lobsters, well, I guess it's not sneaky. He made it last year. But anyway, Lobsters balled out again. Thomas Davis with 17. Carson Palmer with 19. I guess he didn't really ball out, but he won. Talking some shit about his 2 guys giving him 0. I don't really consider Michael Brockers and Mike Daniels anybody worth mentioning. If they get 0, it's more of a, oh, okay. It's not like they were supposed to score. If you get offensive players that get 0, now you got a different conversation. But anyway, again, the Lions helped fuck one person and help another person get a W. Same old Lions. Let's keep it going. So, yeah, Drew's got it working. He's got it working. He put himself back in the conversation for the playoffs. At 2-2, he's tied for second in the division right now. One thing you got to respect about Drew, man, is that he doesn't care about who you are. He will bench anybody. He's got Jeremy Hill and Jerry Maclin on the bench down there with 41 points combined. 41 points combined. That could have been that might have pissed him off if if Sean was able to score 150 like he had been doing, but he didn't. So Drew was able to take home the dub. He had guys, a couple standout guys, Pernell McPhee and Stephen Tuitt. A couple unknowns. I hadn't seen much of Tuitt this year. Minus the Thursday game, he's actually pretty good. That might be a good pickup. He also had 10 tackles on the defensive line. But I wonder, is he maybe you can tell me, Drew, is he a defensive lineman or is he a linebacker in that 3-4? You know how they change the positions on ESPN, but anyway, you can tell me that later. Pernell McPhee, 16 points. He had 8 tackles himself. Maybe he's becoming, wow. I guess 10 tackles, 8 to 10 tackles, 8 to 11 tackles rather, it's not that uncommon. But anyway, good win for you. We'll take a look at Sean's team, and again, nothing to talk about. Jamal Charles with 14, Nigel Bradham 14, but that's it. I mean, we could talk about Jimmy Graham, but I'm assuming he probably doesn't want to do that. So I'll leave him alone about Jimmy Graham. I guess every other week he'll just have between 1 and 3 points, and then, that'll just be that. I guess next week he'll have his 14 or 13 again, and then everything will be fine. Fitzgerald finally came back down to earth. He only had 6.9, so that probably hurt. Yeah, I mean, man, that's really not much here. Levante David with just a 7. There's a bit of a surprise versus a running team like Carolina. He couldn't make any plays versus them. Yeah, nothing was really going on here. I don't have anything down. Do you have any bench points here? Oh, Todd Gurley with 16. But you wanted to go 4 wide and start two tight ends. Wow, I didn't even notice that. You started 2 tight ends and let Gurley stay on the bench. All right, well, everybody has different ways, different things they're looking at. So whatever you're looking at, I'm sure you know, and I'm sure you're regretting it. Just like Drew with some of his points. But good win, Drew. You're back in the division. Race for the playoffs, and Sean moves to 3-1 instead of 4-0. Still first in his division though, so that's it for now.
Ali's trainer right next to me is saying it. You may hear him. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes
So last but not least, I won the Limp Dick Award, and Ryan won. The end. Alright, no, I'm just bullshitting. I took home the Limp Dick Award this week, scoring 116.3. 1 week removed from being the high scorer, but took an L. Good job. Curse beating an undefeated Megawatts. He really only had 3 guys ball out. They just had really big days. We couldn't recover. Devontae Freeman with 33. Phillip Rivers with 32. That's a season high for him. And Le'Veon Bell with his 23. Another season high. Just nothing I could do there. I couldn't get any offense going. So, good week to you. The Papas Leslie ever returned to that game. Not that he would have got me 30, but I'm just sitting here reading it now because it's here. Anyway, good week to you, Ryan, as well. Yeah, both benches were terrible in this game. Both teams in general were bad. It's just you had the 3 players put up big games and we didn't. Nothing else you can say about that. I'm sure he's happy, just like a few other guys are sitting there smiling about this. But again, good week to you. Yeah, on a week where everybody was fairly low scoring, so take that how you will. But looking forward to next week. Let's go ahead and click while I'm on here. Who should be the matchup of the week? Right now, the closest in projection. There's actually a tie here, both 7.4. Curse versus Homeless, and Headhunters versus You Winston, You Lose Some. I don't like either of these as matchups of the week. Personally, I like Myself versus Lobsters as the closest. I think these others are fairly predictable. I guess we'll see what happens. I think Lobsters, though, this one could get interesting. He's starting. He has no Peterson next week. So that's something to look into. But anyway, good week, fellas. No undefeated teams left. Jim still sucks. And, good luck next week. Take it easy.